My wife rejected my request to dance at a wedding and then immediately said yes to someone else. I can't seem to move past my anger and hurt, and I want to know if am I blowing this out of proportion? Hello, relationship advisors. It was hard for me to write this, and I feel a bit silly, but I feel like I need some different perspectives. My wife, 51F, and I, 50M, have been married over 23 years with young adult children. We love each other very much, and we have what I would consider to be a good marriage that is great at times, but could be even better if we worked at it more. At times we struggle with resentments over past issues that we have never made the proper time to work through. No affairs or infidelity, just past issues where we were passionately not aligned on important decisions or the stresses of providing for and raising a family. Most of the time we were aligned, but the times we were not still cause some lingering resentments that flare up from time to time. I provide this as some broader context as I suspect some of my problem may be just that this is a straw that broke the camel's back. We are just beginning the empty nest phase of our marriage, and we recently attended a destination wedding for some younger friends, early 30s. My wife and I were both looking forward to some time away for us, and the fun of getting dressed up and having a great time dancing and partying. I was really looking forward to it as these are some good friends of mine, and the wedding location and events were awesome. Most importantly, I was really looking forward to spending one time with my wife as when we go out, it is typically with friends. We were having a great time at the wedding and my wife looked gorgeous in a beautiful dress and I looked great as well. The photos are amazing. Early in the dancing portion of the evening, one of the single guests asked my wife to dance while I was talking to the bride and groom. I was a bit annoyed but took a deep breath and let it pass as it was brief. After my wife and I danced and my wife was taking a break, the father of the bride asked my wife to dance, and she said yes. I danced with our two friends, male and female, to pass the time, so again, not a big deal. The point is that we don't really have an issue if either of us dances with friends, and weddings will sometimes stretch this rule as you always meet some new people, but dancing with strangers is not okay. Neither of us would ask someone else to dance. The real issue for me came later near the end of the evening. I was still dancing in a group, and I walked over to my wife who was taking a break and asked her to join me as I loved dancing with her. She said that she was too tired and said no. She said her feet hurt from the high heels. At that moment, the father of the bride stepped next to her and asked her to dance again, and she immediately said yes. It was a real slap in the face to me, and I was immediately embarrassed and angry. It happened so fast it was like whiplash. I can tell you that she likely did it out of politeness, obligation, or some inability to say no even if she wanted to say no. When we spoke about it later, she said she can't explain why she sometimes does this. There have been other issues like this in the past. However, I can't seem to reconcile what I know about her versus how it hurt me. It was more of her saying yes to someone else over me. A stranger's request or need is somehow more important than my request or need, and I think that is likely the heart of my frustration. The bride, who was also a friend, came over to dance with me as I realized in hindsight that she likely knew there was an issue, as a relative went to break up the dance between her dad and my wife. It was at that point I realized how drunk the father was and learned that he was divorced. The bride's father was roughly 10 years older than my wife. This just made me feel worse, as I realized this was no longer an innocent dance request but an issue I needed to resolve. At that point, I realized that I needed to gather up my wife so that we could head back to the hotel as the bride's father was clearly drunk and enamored with my wife. It was causing an issue for me, the bride, and the bride's family, so it was time to depart and not create a bigger issue. When we got back to the hotel, I let my wife know plainly how badly she had hurt and embarrassed me. I was clear that the hurt was caused by the no to me and the yes to someone else, and the fact that we possibly created an issue at the wedding for the bride and her family. She immediately apologized and said she did not mean to hurt me, and that she doesn't know why she does that sometimes. She really did not want to dance with him but felt she couldn't say no. While I can understand where she is coming from, it doesn't change the fact that I feel like she chose someone else over me. This isn't the first time something like this has happened, but it is definitely the worst incident that I can recall. It has been almost a week, and I still cannot get past this. Neither of us have brought it up to each other since, but I am not acting the same any longer. I don't want to be physical with her, and it is like a switch went off where I don't want to spend time with her. It is not healthy, and I don't like feeling this way. Am I blowing this whole thing out of proportion? If not, I am not sure the right way to proceed.